Mark Levin here. After any presidential election, I take time to reevaluate my own financial investments. That's why I continue to invest in gold for help with my financial protection. When it comes to gold, I only trust Advantage Gold. They're a top gold company in America, and that's who I turn to for my own gold purchases. Call them now at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000 for a free gold investment kit. And see if you qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. And tell them Mark Levin sent you. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Levin here. Our number, freezing my ass off, aren't you, Mr. Producer? 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Hello, America. On this Friday, our foot is on the gas pedal all the way down. We don't slow down. Strangely enough, I watch this Buffalo football team from time to time. They're outstanding, the Buffalo Bills. They've always had a good franchise there, but they're really outstanding. How the hell do they play in this weather? Can you tell me, Rich, how do you play in this weather? I don't even know how you watch football at home on TV in this weather without freezing. Well, just incredible. I'm glad somebody's doing it, and it ain't me. All right, I want to make a suggestion to my beloved audience here. These hosts, these really loathsome nobodies, absolute nobodies, continue to insist on referring to Hitler and so forth when talking about Donald Trump should be fired now. They should be removed. Enough is enough. I want to know why. Comcast tolerates Joy Reid. I want to know why ABC, that is Disney, tolerates Reid and Navarro. These are stupid people. Navarro can barely speak English. She's an absolute POS. This Joy Reid is a hateful, vile, vicious bigot, and she has been for decades. Why do they keep promoting them? Why do they keep giving them platforms? I'm deadly serious about this. They should be fired. It's enough already. You keep referencing Hitler? That's not only horribly offensive to Jewish people and Holocaust survivors, but it is a grotesque act of blasphemy against Donald Trump. This dehumanization has got to stop, and the only way it stops is if these clowns, these court jesters, are removed from the public square. Now, I don't mind if they get a soapbox and they're on the corner on some street somewhere screaming their heads off. But I do mind the fact that corporations give them these platforms. Now, you can be tough. I'm tough. You can call people names. I call people names and so forth. But there's a line that you shouldn't keep crossing. And they cross it, They're dumbing down the whole idea of the Third Reich and what happened in the Holocaust. They're utterly unaffected by it. Their families are unaffected by it, but other people have been and are. We have vile, hateful anti-Semitism growing in the United States, growing in Canada, growing throughout Europe, at our universities and colleges, in our towns and cities. And these people are there. They're just throwing around the word Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. Is that what Disney wants? Is that what Comcast wants? Because that's what they're doing. They're feeding this. They're feeding it. Anna Navarro is feeding anti-Semitism and Jew hate. And so is Joy Reid. And they know it. And they know it by the way they use the word Hitler in reference to Donald Trump, in reference to his supporters. These people aren't smart. They're not profound. They're not intelligent. They have nothing worth listening to. And yet they're given these formats. You wouldn't want to sit down and have a meal with them. You wouldn't even want to talk to them. You'd turn your back and walk away from them. Does it not matter to these corporations the crap that they're putting out? Does it not matter at all? So here's Anna Navarro on The View today, and she ought to have her fat ass fired. Cut 13, go.
And also, just as, so he's it's not always been great people that have been on the cover of Time, right? It's been people like Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler and Khrushchev and Khomeini. So he's in that kind of company as well.
See what I mean? She thinks she's funny. Oh, and Obama, and I think Hillary Clinton. How about them? How about them, moron? I'm just sick of it. Aren't you sick of it? I don't know how this country ever heals. I don't mean we'll ever all be slobbering all over. That's not the way America works. But what's going on here is so much of it is fed by this media, by people like Anna Navarro and Joy Reid and their ilk. Just real low-level, stupid, moronic people. Then there's Joy Reid on MSNBC. It never ends with her. Never ends. Never ends. She ought to have her ass fired, too. Cut 14, go.
As Time magazine describes it, for 97 years, the editors of Time have been picking the person of the year, the individual who, for better or for worse, did the most to shape the world and the headlines over the past 12 months. In many years, that choice is a difficult one. In 2024, it was not. The key line, for better or for worse, is not much of a ringing endorsement, and we all know which one Trump falls under.
See?
And let's remember who else has been given this title in years past in the same category. Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Ayatollah Khomeini, and Vladimir Putin. In fact, Stalin won the distinction twice, just like Trump.
Martin Luther King, what about him? You're sick. You're a sick, nasty, hateful, cancerous individual. That's what you are. Grotesque. Absolutely grotesque. What you say, what's going on between your ears, almost identical, you and Navarro. Navarro probably plagiarized it from you, since you said this yesterday and she said it today. Aren't they clever, America? Aren't they clever? Hitler and Stalin, they were on the cover of the magazine. And, of course, Donald Trump falls into that category. For what? For what? What the hell did he do? What the hell did he do to deserve such comparisons? Absolutely nothing. Who did he kill? Who did he round up? Who did he throw in prison? Tell me. Tell me. How much longer are we going to put up with this crap? His supporters are neo-Nazis. He's Hitler. The only way this stops is if these damnable corporations put an end to it. As if Comcast says that's enough. Your ass is fired. Disney says enough. The View. Her ass is fired. There needs to be some accountability. Some accountability. They constantly be using Hitler as a reference for Donald Trump. Now there are people out there who embrace Hitler, who embrace what Hitler said, who embrace his objectives. We see them in the streets. We see them carrying swastikas. We know who they are. That's a legitimate reference. But to talk about the incoming president of the United States, who was the president of the United States, who's never done anything, that should even imply that he's a million miles within Hitler. And to constantly hear this banging of the drum, the hitting of the pots and pans from these screeching, moronic, low IQ dummies, enough is enough. What are you going to do about it, Comcast? We're going to spin this up. Fix it. What are you going to do about it, Disney? Fix it. Because this is not funny. This is deadly. They tried to assassinate Donald Trump twice. There's great fear that he make it to the inauguration. And you have people on TV making comments over and over again, and now after the election, that are so out of bounds, that cross every line. And you sit there, you dumb bastard executives, you sit there in your offices and you let it happen. This isn't about free speech. Navarro's free to say what she wants. Reid's free to say what she wants. You're not the government. It's about your platform. Your platform. You're using your platform to allow people to speak in ways that dehumanize the incoming president and clearly, more likely, subject him to the buffoons and the fools and the nuts who will harm him. How many more assassination attempts do we need? Anna Navarro and Joy Reid. They're nobodies. They're absolutely nobodies. They've accomplished nothing. They've said nothing important or profound. They've written nothing important or profound. It's not like they have some intelligent thing to say every time they open their mouth. Every time they open their mouths, they have stupid-ass things to say. You can have aggressive commentary from the left, from the right, whatever you want. But this has to stop. And the only way it stops is by these corporations that rely on your money, that rely on you, whether it's Comcast or Disney, that these corporations, that their boards of directors do something about it. The Constitution doesn't say a private company has to put people on the air who make the most outrageous, contemptible, hateful statements day in and day out, night after night. They have them on the air because they obviously want them on the air. Now you think about that next time you pay Disney 1 penny for anything, and think about that when your cable bill comes up for Comcast. And they just say it, no big deal, it's water off the back. They think they're funny. Funny. Nothing funny about it. These two clowns, I guarantee you they've never been to a concentration camp. I guarantee you they've never been to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. I guarantee you they've never seen a black and white film of what the hell happened at these Nazi camps. I guarantee you they don't give a crap about the Holocaust and the Third Reich, or they wouldn't keep talking the way that they're talking. There are people in this country who admire Hitler, who want to do what Hitler did, and they're marching in our streets. Damnable, Jew-hating, Hitlerians. But when you call Trump something like this, or throw him in this category, while you're relatively silent about the rest of them, you are sick. Now, these people who are head cases, who are unhinged, like Reid and Navarro, maybe they need to see psychiatrists or psychologists. Maybe they need a padded room. I don't know. Let them play it out in their own time and in their own way and in their own basement. But out of all the people you can choose to do a program, on MSNBC. You want all the people you can choose to be on The View to represent women. You can do a hell of a lot better than this. You're degrading women with these two people. You're degrading them. You're degrading your audience. You're degrading, period. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Did you see what the Federal Reserve did literally days after President Trump's victory? It lowered interest rates by a quarter. Do you know why it did that? It's worried about the economy. It's worried about the fact that jobs aren't being created. We're seeing all kinds of shifts in our portfolios, and it's important to stay aware. That's why I'm urging everyone to diversify and consider gold as one of your financial shields. Now, gold has weathered every kind of economic downturn throughout history. I want you to call Advantage Gold. They're the best of the best, folks. I've dealt with all of them. They're the best. They're my gold company. 1-800-900-8000. Get a free gold investment kit to see how you can get started with gold. I recommend Advantage Gold to anyone who's serious about protecting their wealth, and that's you. Call 800-900-8000 for your free gold investment kit, and you could even qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call them now. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. You'll be very happy with them. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Look at these pardons this Biden is. It's a lunatic. New York Post, Biden slammed for commuting sentence of notorious Kids for Cash judge convicted of imprisoning juveniles for $2.1 million in kickbacks. Have you seen this by Reid and Navarro? The corrupt former Pennsylvania judge convicted of funneling juveniles to for-profit detention centers in exchange for $2.1 million in kickbacks. At his long prison sentence commuted Thursday by President Biden. Former Luzerne County Judge Michael Conahan, the jurist at the center of the so-called Kids for Cash scandal, was among the 1,499 commutations the 82-year-old lame duck president granted in the largest presidential act of clemency on a single day in modern history. The mother of a victim of Conahan's disturbing crime fumed upon hearing of his commutation. "I am shocked and I am hurt," Cindy Fonzo, whose son committed suicide after he was locked up as part of the scheme orchestrated by Conahan and former Judge Mark Ciavarella, said in a statement. "Conahan's action destroyed families, including mine, and my son's death is a tragic reminder of the consequences of his abuse of power," she said. "This pardon feels like an injustice for all of us who still suffer." Now, why in the hell would this decrepit, demented old buffoon commute the sentence of a judge who was paid millions to put these kids in jail? Can anybody give me any Democrat out there? Can you give me any justification for this? Conahan, 72, pleaded guilty to racketeering conspiracy charges for his role in the scheme. He was sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison in 2011. He was released to home confinement in Florida. That should never have happened. In June 2020. The time of his sentencing, U.S. Attorney's Office in the Middle District of Pennsylvania described the judicial scandal as the worst in the history of Pennsylvania. More than 2,500 children between 2003 and 2008 were potentially given disproportionate sentences by Conahan and Ciavarella, two judges, in order to populate the private detention centers, paying them the kickback. Can you imagine these scum and that Joe Biden cut short? The markets are volatile. They're shooting up wildly only to drop without warning. The Fed just cut rates yet again, this time by a quarter point. Why? Because the Federal Reserve is not confident the economy is strong. In fact, last month only 12,000 jobs were created, all of them in the government. That's why I'm telling you again, diversification is crucially important. And diversification with gold is what I do. And the company I use, and I've used many, the best one is Advantage Gold. Call them now at 800-900-8000 for a free gold investment kit to see how gold gold can help you diversify your investments and take advantage now. Now, gold has been helping to protect and grow wealth for people for thousands of years. And in these times, it can be more crucial than ever. When it comes to gold, I trust Advantage Gold. They're one of the top gold companies in America. They're who I turn to when I purchase gold. Call them now, 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000 now for a free gold investment kit to see how gold can help you with your investment portfolio, a.k.a. your bank accounts, your paycheck. And when you do, you could qualify for $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Folks, don't wait. Call them now, 800-900-8000, and tell them Mark Levin sent you. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Mark Levin speaking to the 4 out of 5 Americans who are literate at 877-381-3811.
Our country's being inundated with drones. There's no question about it. The Biden White House is doing what it does best. It's lying to us. The government is concealing information. There's something quite significant going on. We're not all blind. We see what's taking place. This is a massive cover-up. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a conspiracy person in the least. But I know what I see, and I know the people who are reliable. Larry Hogan, former governor of Maryland, he just posted something. You can tell it's a drone. And these drones are really, it's quite serious. You know what these drones are doing? They're mapping. Not napping, mapping. King George County Sheriff's Office, this is Virginia, Stafford. Suspicious drones. Suspicious drones have been reported flying over numerous areas of King George County, as well as Stafford and Spotsylvania County. These are Virginia. King George Sheriff's Office has been in contact with the local FBI field office, and they are aware of the drone activity. The FBI has requested that all information be reported to them, as well as the FAA, for utilizing the following method, and then they give out the information. Are they lying too? Is that what's going on? Got another one. On Wednesday, December 10th, 12 to 15 large drones were observed over the main Stafford Gate at Quantico. That's FBI headquarters. It's also where the Marines, not FBI headquarters, it's where the Marines do their training as well as the FBI in many respects. These drones were flying in a synchronized manner. This is from law enforcement. That is consistent with mapping and or electronic device extraction. This was reported from Marine Corps law enforcement at Stafford County Sheriff's Office and Prince William County Police. Several reports from the public. Yesterday, federal government facility reported seeing a group of drones, very large, fly from Virginia into West Virginia and fly over the West Virginia Air National Guard airfield that houses C-17 aircraft. Also, drones were reported to law enforcement over locations in Fairfax County, Virginia. All Virginia law enforcement is tracking, as well as the FBI, HSI, and DOD. In November of last year, over several days, dozens of drones were flying over Hampton Roads, Virginia, with specific interest in the Norfolk Naval Base. That's our biggest base. That's our sub-base. There's also, obviously, San Diego. And Joint Air Base Langley. The drones actually attempted to fly into open compartments on aircraft carriers, prompting the Navy to install netting to prevent it. DOD did not take action to take down the objects. It was reported that the drones are being launched from foreign-flagged vessels purported to be China. This is November 2023. About 13 miles off the coast of Virginia in international waters. This vessel then traveled south off the coast of South Carolina, Florida, and then into the Gulf. But don't worry, Admiral Kirby says these are all man-flagged. What's the problem? No. People in New Jersey are right. People in New York are right. People in Virginia are right. People up and down the eastern seaboard and others are right. They know what they're saying. All kinds of people are saying it. Law enforcement. firefighters, just regular Americans, like we're fools. Because Kirby tells us we don't know what we're seeing. What we're seeing is a lot of activity. My hunch has always been the Communist Chinese. Obviously, I can't prove it. But who else has the capacity for something like this? And who else would Joe Biden be deferential to but the Communist Chinese, among others, but especially the Communist Chinese? He owes them so much, he and the Biden family. It took good care of him over the years. And he'll have a very nice retirement thanks to them over the years. So now this is Virginia, parts of West Virginia. In addition to New Jersey, in addition to Maryland and New York and other places in this country, it's taking place. It's not a fiction. The American people aren't a joke. We're not running scared. I saw some jerk expert who's apparently in the drone building business and development and marketing business saying it's like, it's like one of those old scientific movies, science horror movies. The people are scared. They're listening to the radio. That's not true. We're looking in the sky. We see what we see. There's nothing fictional about this. Now, what is so concerning is the extent of this drone activity in multiple states. Hundreds of people reports of it. Perhaps thousands of people observing it. And the response we're getting from our government. I don't know. It's not us. It's not a foreign power. It's not a threat. Don't worry. They know everything and then they know nothing. And now the answer is, you're blind. You don't know what the hell you're looking at. Those are manned aircraft. No, they're not. They're not manned aircraft. Take a look at that Larry Hogan video online. That's not a manned aircraft. It's a drone. And there are others. Clearly drones. And they're synchronized flying. December 10, 12 to 15 large drones observed over the main Stafford Gate of Quantico, Virginia. They were flying in a synchronized manner. Is that what manned aircraft do? They fly in a synchronized manner like they're doing a swimming pool dance that is consistent with mapping and or electronic device extraction. This is law enforcement. This was reported from Marine Corps law enforcement and Stafford County Sheriff's Office and Prince William County Police. They don't know the difference? Of course they do. And several reports from the public. Then yesterday, federal government facility reporting seeing a group of drones, very large, fly from Virginia into West Virginia, fly over the West Virginia Air National Guard airfield that houses C-17 aircraft. You know, they're not out there taking pictures of, lettuce fields and dung heaps and stuff. No, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing what they're actually flying over? Like the Communist Chinese weather balloon that they all pretended didn't. Look at that, it's Chris Christie up there. No, it's not Chris Christie. Well, you never know. Remember that hurricane, and there he was on the beach. We misidentified. We thought it was a massive sperm whale, and then we find out it's the governor of New Jersey. This is serious stuff. And to have all these members of Congress rubbing their hands, wondering what the hell's going on, we're sending off letters, we're making demands. They're getting nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. And think to yourselves, we have hypersonic missiles. They go faster than the speed of sound. These are drones. These are drones. They're called drones for a reason. Oh, look at that. There's a drone. You mean Joe Biden? No. I'm talking about a drone, a mechanical device in the air. It's just incredible to me how open our airspace is over our major cities, over our military sites, over other critical infrastructure. Can you imagine if they wanted to take out our electrical grid? How easy it would be? Take out our electrical grid, you take out the United States of America and all the people in America. You won't survive. I'm just telling you, this is just incredible to me. Not a conspiracy. Nothing of the sort. And I don't think it's our government doing it. You want to know why, to be perfectly honest with you? I think our government officials are too stupid to do this, even if they wanted to. It's an enemy. It's an enema of the state. The Iranians, I don't think the Iranians are able to do this right now, do you? So who would it be? The Russians, they seem a little busy to me right now. It's the communist Chinese, in my humble opinion. Or you can't prove it. Hey, look, don't hand me that. Don't hand me that. We got a massive government cover-up. We got all this stuff going on, and I'm supposed to prove it. You can't prove that. It's a matter of deduction. That's what your brain exists for. It's a matter of rational deduction, matter of reasoning. That's what separates us from liberals. We sit here and we reason. And by the way, and muskrats. But nonetheless, Democrats are noticing it. Republicans are seeing it. That's right. Wealthy people see it. Poor people see it. Black people see it. White people see it. All kinds of people are seeing this. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Did you see what the Federal Reserve did literally days after President Trump's victory? It's lowered interest rates by a quarter. Do you know why it did that? It's worried about the economy. It's worried about the fact that jobs aren't being created. We're seeing all kinds of shifts in our portfolios, and it's important to stay aware. That's why I'm urging everyone to diversify and consider gold as one of your financial shields. Now, gold has weathered every kind of economic downturn throughout history. I want you to call Advantage Gold. They're the best of the best, folks. I've dealt with all of them. They're the best. They're my gold company. 1-800-900-8000. Get a free gold investment kit to see how you can get started with gold. I recommend Advantage Gold to anyone who's serious about protecting their wealth, and that's you. Call 800-900-8000 for your free gold investment kit, and you can even qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call them now. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. You'll be very happy with them. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Drone sightings spread beyond New Jersey as more authorities join calling for federal response. Joe's too busy pardoning people. Very, very busy. Staten Island, other parts of New York. But don't worry, Governor Hochul said you have nothing to fear. Really? I fear her. She's a drone. Former Republican Maryland Governor Larry Hogan posted what he saw. Dozens of large drones, quote-unquote, above his home, adding that neither the White House, the military, the FBI, or Homeland Security have any idea what they are, where they come from, or who's launched them. That response is utterly unacceptable. U.S. Secret Service does not currently have any unmanned aerial systems operating in or around New Jersey or New York. They put out a statement. Then you can have No Way Phil Murphy. You don't know what the hell's going on. But they're all issuing letters. He wrote a letter. Schumer wrote a letter. McConnell wrote a letter. Well, McConnell can't write anything, but somebody wrote a letter and signed his name, obviously. Richard Blumenthal wrote a letter. Oh, the letters are coming. The letters are coming. Well, that's good. Got letters going out, folks. Let's see. We've got mayors writing letters. We've got Andy Kim, the incoming new senator. He wrote a letter. Gillibrand wrote a letter. Wow. That'll get their attention in the bureaucracy, won't it, mister? But they wrote a letter. Yeah. I look at this and I say, are we ready for anything? Are we ready for anything? These are drones. I said they're called drones for a reason, just like I've called left-wing liberals drones for a decade. They're drones. They don't have independent brains, that is, computer brains. People are operating them. If a Republican congressman says he understands an Iranian ship, they try to humiliate him. It's like when Netanyahu got up and he said, the United States is withholding weapons. And then what did our government say? We don't know what he's talking about. They're withholding $20 billion of weapons that Israel paid for. And they lied to us. They lied to us about the border. They lied to us about Joe Biden. What's between his ears? What's between his ears? Mashed potatoes. That's what's between his ears. Oh, no, you don't understand. He's Einstein. Oh, he's Stephen Hawking. Oh, I didn't know. That's right. That gibberish, that's a special language. Where only geniuses can understand what he's saying. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, that stuff in the sky, says Kirby. The same propagandist for every disaster that's been in foreign policy and national security in this regime. Oh, no. Those are manned flights. What the hell's wrong with you? Thousands and thousands of people in law enforcement, state and federal. And you politicians, don't you know what you're seeing? Oh, thanks, Kirby. Now we know. Apparently one of these damn things crashed in New Jersey. Not far from our friend Wilkow's house. Is that what you told me, Mr. Producer? Well, what now? That's a one-off. That's a one-off. No, this is serious stuff. You know, where our house is in Florida, I don't think I ever told my wife this when I was there by myself at one point. Some idiot neighbor was flying one of these drones, and, you know, they have, like, video on the end of them. You can buy drones with video and different things in the video. And it's flying around my windows. It's really quite alarming. So I told the neighbor a few things. And he stopped doing it. But when you see a drone, you know what a drone is. Now, most of these drones are flying at night, too. They've got lights that go on and off, and so forth and so on. But I read to you what they saw in Quantico, Virginia. That's a big deal. That they're flying in a synchronized formation. Can Mr. Kirby explain that? A synchronized formation. Synchronized formation? What are the Blue Angels up there? What the hell's going on? No, there's 12 to 15 of them. Not 3 jets. 12 to 15 of them in synchronized formation. Oh, you know what? I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know. Whatever it is. Kirby said it's not. This is a massive scandal. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's going on. I'll be back after the break. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381. Anyway, so the other day, Mitch McConnell fell down and suffered some kind of health emergency. He was taken for medical treatment. He's, I believe, now in a wheelchair, at least temporarily. As somebody who fell down 3 months ago and had a severe injury, I get it. Now, Nancy Pelosi, 84, seen clinging to a lawmaker before she fell down marble stairs and fractured her hip and was rushed to the hospital. Now, let me say this. There's got to be term limits, and unfortunately, we have to amend the Constitution for it. The court has ruled, and the court is correct. I mean, the only requirements for a senator is age. That is a minimum age, 30. 30. Excuse me, 35 for president, 25 for the House. But these people are They're really too old to be representing us. They're too old because they can't do the jobs effectively. It's not just physically, it's mentally. But they hold on. Why do they hold on? Because they have nothing else. This is more important to them than their family. This is more important to them than going back home where they grew up or where they left to supposedly represent the people. They love the power. They want the power to the very end. Otherwise, what are they going to be? Old, decrepit people without power. You know, they can't bear the thought of that. They're used to having people wait on them, hand and foot, having drivers in the case of these leaders. People bring them lunch, bring them dinner, lobbyists slobbering all over them. Jet setting here and there, going all over the world. That would all end. So they have difficulty with it. But we know Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi shouldn't be in Congress anymore. We know that. She was in Luxembourg on an overseas trip. Why is she on an overseas trip? Well, why not, right? She fell down a marble staircase. That is not funny. That is extraordinarily dangerous. A lot of people die falling downstairs. A lot of people get severely injured, as I did, falling downstairs. So I'm not mocking anybody. But what the hell is she doing in Luxembourg and Belgium? That's so important, And McConnell took a tumble. He injured his face, among other things, at a Republican lunch. At a lunch event. So I don't get it. You might say, well, what about Trump? He's 78, 79 years old. Trump may be 78 or 79, but physically and mentally, it's as if he's 50 years old. As if he's 50 years old. You can tell the difference between him and Biden. Biden shouldn't be anywhere near the White House. Biden shouldn't be anywhere near the nuclear button. Shouldn't be driving a car. Serious. Quite serious. Shouldn't be making major decisions. He's out of it. Just because every now and then he comes back from it, the truth is he's out of it. And so somehow this needs to be addressed. Speaker Emerita, they call her, Pelosi. Speaker Emerita. McConnell's 82. He's a very old 82. He's a much older 82 than when my father was 93. It's just the nature of whatever it is. McConnell looks much older than 82. Pelosi looks a lot older than 84. Biden looks a lot older than 184. But here we are. Excuse me. And, we're a great country. We got to be able to do better than this. And yet, in order to fix this, it would take a Herculean effort to change the Constitution, because the people aren't going to vote them out of power. And that includes Republicans in Kentucky. Where's Mitch? Wait, I got to hit this switch for Mitch. He got me my Social Security on time. He got my kid in the woods. I got to vote for Mitch. And then Pelosi. Oh, my God, but she's just unbelievable. Nobody can replace her. We know Nancy. Where do I vote? Crazy. So Antony Blinken is in the Middle East. Surprise, surprise. The guy is an arsonist, and he likes to drop matches everywhere he goes. Or should I say 2,000-pound bombs. I've told you before, and I'll say it again, the man is a traitor. The man subsidized Iran. He subsidized Hamas through UNRWA. He subsidized many of the terrorist entities in the Middle East through his policies. And so when you're subsidizing our enemies and the enemies of our allies, you're a traitor. He's a traitor. If he's not, then what the hell is he? Nobel laureate? And so he's over there now, and he's meeting with the Turkish genocidal murderer, Erdogan, and his foreign minister. And his foreign minister. Now this genocidal maniac, he took power He cleaned out the military, the top ranks, the top ranks of law enforcement, cleaned them out. People have faced execution, torture, bankruptcy. He was the head of a small Islamic socialist party. And when they took over, they never let go. In the last election, he stole when every single opposition group, left, right, and in between, organized against him, and he still miraculously won, one of those elections where he can run around and say he was democratically elected. He hates Israel and the Jews. He hates the Kurds. He's literally trying to wipe them out in horrendous ways. In Syria, the Christians, the Druze, the Kurds are now all in trouble. There's only one country, Israel, that says we got to figure out a way to save these people. That's right. That's right. So Antony Blinken goes to Turkey today. And he treats Erdogan, it's spelled Erdogan, but it's pronounced Erdogan apparently. Did you know I know Turkish, Mr. Producer? Well, I don't. That's what they tell me. And this guy's a mass murderer. And he treats him with utmost respect. When he meets with Netanyahu, he treats him with utmost disrespect. But let's take a listen in, shall we? Here's Antony Blinken with the Turkish foreign minister. Cut 10, go.
We're very focused on Syria.
First of all, I can't stand this guy. I can't stand his voice, his affectations. But here we go. Go ahead.
We're very focused on Syria, very focused on the opportunity that now is before us and before the Syrian people.
Now look at this schmuck. We have an opportunity. We don't have anything. This won't be decided by us. A mass murder, genocidal maniac was chased off by mass murdering genocidal maniacs. Now we'll see what happens. We have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. The guy that funded Iran, the guy that funded the Houthis, the guy that funded Hamas, the guy that funded Hezbollah, directly and indirectly. We have an opportunity. We have an opportunity here. Go ahead.
Out from under the shackles of Bashar al-Assad to a different and better future for the Syrian people, one that the Syrian people decide.
And who made that possible, moron? You and Biden doing victory laps. Of course, they're running backwards and running into people. That's how stupid they are. But you get the point. They had absolutely nothing to do with it and everything to do with undermining any effort to do exactly what's turned out. Netanyahu deserves all the credit. All of it. All of it. All of it. None of it's to be shared with Biden and Blinken. Zero. Absolutely zero. And Netanyahu was attacked. They tried to overthrow his government. They went to ministers who were hostile to him to try and throw him out. They funded these organizations in Israel, including self-hating Jewish organizations, to try and have riots in the streets and force him out. They used the international community to attack him, the UN. Among other things, they lied and leaked to the New York Times, the Washington Compost, Axios, Barack Ravin, or whatever the hell his name is, Lindsey Graham's buddy. Ravid, and then, of course, Politico, and the lousy, not all, a couple of good outlets, but for the most part, the lousy Israeli press. And there he is, standing Biden, taking credit. Shut up, sit down. Meanwhile, today they're trying to put the prime minister in prison. Same tactics against Trump, trying to put him in prison. In the middle of a war, they're fighting the Syrians. They're fighting in Syria. They're fighting the terrorists all over the Middle East. Their judiciary is corrupt. It's ideologically corrupt. Their attorney general really reports to nobody but the judiciary. Also corrupt. It's an entirely corrupt enterprise. No, he took too many cigars. What? He took so much champagne. He doesn't like champagne. Yeah, and he cut some kind of deal with a website operator on news. I mean, folks, this Mickey Mouse crap. But it's the left. It's the hard left that takes over the judiciary, that takes over these prosecutor positions. That's who they are. That's what they do. But there's Blinken slobbering all over the Turks. Go ahead.
Themselves. And we talked about how Turkey, how the United States, how other partners in the region can support those efforts. And I think there's broad agreement on what we would each like to see going forward, starting with the interim government in Syria, one that is inclusive.
You know, this a-hole, he's sitting there, or standing there, talking, again, like he's some kind of godlike figure who can determine what it's going to look like in Syria. Who's he talking to? He's talking to himself. You think the terrorists who overthrew Assad and other terrorists, you think they're there? Oh, Blinken wants us to be secularists. He wants us to have a Western democracy. Let's listen carefully, shall we? You think Erdogan, who's a murderous, genocidal maniac, you think he's a, yes, let's go ahead and do that. Right, Antony? Stupid, naive, clownish. Go ahead.
One that protects the rights of minorities and women.
They're wiping out the Kurds, the Christians, and the Jews there. Women have no rights. And he acts like he's talking at some Democrat Party fundraiser. The guy's an idiot. Go ahead.
Serves institutions of the state and delivers.
Right, shut up, you idiot. I don't have to put up with this. And then again, he slobbers all over Erdogan. Now, this guy's a mass murder, genocidal maniac who's destroyed Turkey. To destroy what Ataturk created. They don't try to topple him. No. They don't fund organizations to riot in the streets in Turkey against him. They don't meet with his so-called cabinet ministers around his back. No, they dare not do that to Turkey. They only do that to Israel and the Jews and Netanyahu, not to Turkey. And the jihadists and the Islamists, we never do that. We don't interfere with the affairs of another country. Listen to this. Cut 11, go.
And I also want to extend my thanks and gratitude to President Erdogan for the generosity of his time and his insight last night in receiving us.
You believe this? They wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu. The so-called vice president wouldn't even introduce him to a joint session of Congress where he was giving a speech. But Erdogan, a mass murderer, a torturer, a thug. I want to extend my thanks and gratitude to Erdogan for the generosity of his time and his insight in receiving us. His insight in receiving us. What does that even mean, by the way? He had great insight in receiving us, you know. Yes. Like he's God Almighty. But look at the respect they give to this guy and the disrespect with Netanyahu. Just look at it. And look at what Netanyahu has accomplished despite the fact that our regime has been stabbing in the back with holding weapons, trying to topple him, smearing him in Israeli media and in American media and European media. Just look at it. Look at it. While the leftists in his own country pretend judges and prosecutors are trying to throw him in prison over cigars and champagne. I mean, think about this. Those of you who don't think it's smart, as I said the other day, to have immunity for presidents who should not be indicted while they're in office, well, now you know why it is smart. Because this is what the left does. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, they say free, but what they really mean is see the fine print. There's no shortage of ads from the big wireless carriers offering the latest iPhone for free. But look deeper. You'll realize to qualify, you need to trade in your phone valued at $1,000. You need to be on the $100 a month unlimited plan and pay the $35 activation fee. That's a lot of money for a free phone, don't you think? Well, don't fall for it. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, has a better option. Get a brand new iPhone 14, which has all the bells and whistles you need, plus get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot, all for $50 a month. How about that? Half the price of the big guys, and you get a new iPhone powered by America's most dependable 5G network. Do this. Go to puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Plus, when you go to puretalk.com/Levin, you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company. It's getting worse and worse. Real reporters are really digging into these pardons and clemency. Over at Breitbart, Biden commutes sentence of University of Miami booster and Ponzi scheme convict Nevin Shapiro. Writes Warner Todd Huston. Another one of those who had their sentences commuted by Biden was notorious University of Miami booster and convicted Ponzi schemer Nevin Shapiro. Shapiro was convicted of a Ponzi scheme that raked in more than $1 billion in 2010 after he bilked thousands of people who invested in his fake company, Capital Investments. His crimes included creating fake documents purportedly showing how CI made tens of millions a year from owning and operating a non-existent grocery warehouse business. He was convicted and handed a 20-year prison sentence in 2010. Meanwhile, Shapiro was spending $400,000 for floor seats to watch the Miami Heat. I think you'd have to pay me to watch them. $26,000 a month on rent for his home in Miami Beach, $1.5 million yacht, expensive cars, other luxuries. He reportedly hobnobbed with NBA players like Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade, and Kevin Garnett. Shapiro also worked closely with the University of Miami, pledging $150,000 to help the school build a student lounge in his name. The convicted felon also got caught up in doling out impermissible benefits to players for nearly a decade to boost the university sports program, mostly Hurricanes football. While there were never any legal charges, the school eventually suffered under a series of penalties for violating NCAA rules. Shapiro was already let out of jail in 2020 thanks to COVID policies, was serving the rest of his sentence under house arrest. That must have been tough. But now, according to TMZ, that's all behind him after Biden has canceled the rest of his sentence. He commuted him. Shapiro still made no effort to repay any of the $82,657,362.29 he still owes his victims. And Biden gave him clemency, effectively shortening his sentence. Chinese spies earlier. These embezzlers, this is like the third or fourth big one. Fifth big one. Judges who were selling long sentences. I mean, who even concocts a scheme like this? To throw juveniles in prison for longer periods of time to help a for-private prison? These are the people, these are among the people that Joe Biden is giving commutations to. And God only knows what else is in there. And by the way, he's very happy about it. I am fixing this. I'm setting the record straight. And he says there's going to be a lot more to come. I'll be right back. You know, they say free, but what they really mean is see the fine print. There's no shortage of ads from the big wireless carriers offering the latest iPhone for free. But look deeper. You'll realize to qualify, you need to trade in your phone valued at $1,000. You need to be on the $100 a month unlimited plan and pay the $35 activation fee. That's a lot of money for a free phone, don't you think? Well, don't fall for it. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, has a better option. Get a brand new iPhone 14, which has all the bells and whistles you need, plus get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot, all for $50 a month. How about that? Half the price of the big guys, and you get a new iPhone powered by America's most dependable 5G network. Do this. Go to puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Plus, when you go to puretalk.com/Levin, you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
Mark Levin, the great one.
The great one, Mark Levin.
Dial in now, 877-381-3811.
I see here, Mr. Producer, Muslim groups pan Biden's Islamophobia strategy fails to address Gaza genocide. Muslim groups criticize the Biden administration's new strategy for dealing with anti-Muslim prejudice and anti-Arab hatred. Sure, that's the problem in America. Saying it failed to address the Gaza genocide and was too little too late. So I got to thinking. Notice how these groups fail to mention Muslim on Muslim genocide, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Iran, and so forth, where collectively hundreds and hundreds of thousands of innocent people are slaughtered. Why is that? Oh, and here's the thought. Why don't you stop attacking the Israelis and murdering their citizens? Stop declaring your intention to obliterate the Jews. Stop rejecting every single peace effort over decades. And then maybe the Israelis won't have to respond. I just figured the whole thing out, Mr. Producer. I just figured the whole thing out. But isn't it amazing that these Muslim groups, their entire focus is on Gaza, and we've talked about that till I'm blue in the face, at how little time, if any time, they spend on the Muslim genocide that takes place in the Middle East? 600,000 people slaughtered in Syria alone. But Iran, thousands and thousands. Iraq, thousands and thousands. Yemen, the Houthis now slaughtering the Muslim population there. We can go on and on. But no. It's Islamophobia. The biggest Islamophobics are the Islamists. That's the biggest Islamophobia in the whole world, quite frankly. Goes on here, the strategy continues the White House habit of drawing an equivalence, writes our buddy Joel Pollack, between anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. It cites a sharp rise in anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and hatred against Arab and other Americans in the wake of October 7 attacks, omitting the fact that the terror attacks were actually carried out by radical Islamists, and the fact that some of the culprits in the recent rise in anti-Semitism are Muslim, while the reverse is less often true. Still, it didn't go far enough for some Muslim groups. The Council on American Islamic Relations and a Hamas front group, why are they always commented on? Which helped water down the White House anti-Semitism strategy last year, said the Islamophobia strategy was too little too late, and commented that President Joe Biden had become a mass murderer of Muslims by supporting Israel. See? This Hamas front group. You know, this CARE needs to be obliterated. Legally, of course. Needs to be further exposed. Its resources need to be exposed. Its connections to pro-terrorist entities need to be exposed. As Breitbart News has noted, in 2007-2008, CARE was named an unindicted co-conspirator in the terror financing trial, and we've talked about this at length. The Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development. That case, in turn, led to the FBI to continue with. In 2009, a federal judge ruled that the government produced ample evidence to establish that ties of CARE with Hamas and the Palestinian terror organization, the United Arab Emirates. The UAE labeled CARE a terrorist organization in 2014. A decision, by the way, the Milhouse administration, a.k.a. Barack Obama, opposed. The executive director of CARE also delivered an address in which he said the October 7 attacks made him happy. The Muslim Public Affairs Council was more diplomatic. It said the strategy was an important step toward addressing the systemic discrimination, harassment, and violence experienced by American Muslims. And it also said it fails to address the primary concern of American Muslim communities to end the genocide in Gaza. But they all support Hamas. They all support Hamas. What to do? Now, they just hate Israel and the Jews. Let's just be honest. Let's stop pussyfooting around here. That's the bottom line. We all know it's true. That's why CARE exists. It's a Hamas front group. Now, if I was wrong, they would sue me, would they not, Mr. Producer? How many decades have I said, go at it, boys? They used to intimidate program directors around the country to take hosts off who would dare to criticize them or Muslim groups and so forth and so on. And they would yank these local radio hosts off the air. Then I came along 20-some years ago and I said, I dare you to try that legal crap with me. I dare you, because I will not settle. I will get your records. I will expose your connections. I will get your texts and your emails. I will get your hard documents. I will do depositions. I'll do them myself. We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll expose all of this once and damn for all. Where are they? Where are these cowards? Where are they? You can't support Israel because otherwise you support Islamophobia. Yeah, this is Hamas through the mouth of CAIR. Don't you love the way these Marxist Islamists operate? Let's call ourselves CAIR. CAIR, C-A-I-R. Council of American Islamic Relations. And then they tout themselves, we're the biggest Muslim civil rights organization in America. And I think to myself, who elected these people? Nobody. Nobody. They just show up and they decide. And we've talked about what the FBI found when they bugged that room outside at a Marriott outside the Philadelphia airport, and how the whole point of CAIR and groups like it was to create the kind of propaganda operation that exists today in this country. They're not a civil rights organization by any stretch of the imagination. They're not an American supporting organization by any stretch of the imagination. They give lip service to the enemy of this country. The enemy of this country. They give them voice, I should say. That's what they do. You know, the president of this organization, what's his name, Awad, or whatever the hell his name is, he's welcome on this program. One-on-one, brother. One-on-one. One-on-one, you jerk. That's right. And I want to play some of the audio of what you said, and I want to go through some of the stuff that the FBI found. You up to that, tough guy? Can you handle it? No, we're not going to go on with him. No, we can't go on with him. Yeah, of course not. Can't say I blame them, quite frankly. But there they are at work, like these students for justice in Palestine. I did that story with a Free Beacon, helped expose what was going on in the household of the leaders of that group at George Mason University, right outside of Washington, D.C. All the weaponry they had. Ooh. All the Jew-hating propaganda. You know how much attention it got on cable news, Mr. Producer? None. Zero. We have this story. This story where we had the author on. And didn't get any. No. What's that famous boxer's name? I keep pulling that article, Mr. Mayberry? Floyd Mayberry? He is a very faithful Christian. And he goes to Israel and he supports the Israelis. And he was assaulted. I think it was in London. He was attacked because he was recognized. He was attacked. Violence still going on at Columbia University against Jews. Violence still going on at NYU against Jews. You know what's interesting for people who don't live in and around New York, and are unfamiliar with these universities. These universities used to be viewed as sort of majority Jewish universities, sort of Ivy League type universities, very difficult to get into. A unusually large population of Jewish students get through an admission, doing very well on tests and grades and so forth. Not anymore. These institutions have effectively been destroyed. Like so many others. So where is this breakout of Islamophobia? Where is the violence taking place? Here and there, yes, I get that. Here and there, yes. But where is the systemic enterprise, the systemic strategy to go after Muslim students and Muslim people? Where is this? Who's funding it? Name the organizations. Who's the leader? Tell us. They can't. They don't exist. It's like, tell us. Tell us the Palestinian leaders, the Palestinian organization in the Middle East that wants peace with Israel. Just tell us. I want to see this Martin Luther King. I want to talk to him. I want to see this Mahatma Gandhi. They don't exist. How many more things do they need to say, these entities? How many more things do they need to do? How many more people need to be violently attacked and even killed for us to get it through our heads? What's going on? Seriously. Seriously. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, they say free, but what they really mean is see the fine print. There's no shortage of ads from the big wireless carriers offering the latest iPhone for free. But look deeper. You'll realize to qualify, you need to trade in your phone valued at $1,000. You need to be on the $100 a month unlimited plan and pay the $35 activation fee. That's a lot of money for a free phone, don't you think? Well, don't fall for it. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, has a better option. Get a brand new iPhone 14, which has all the bells and whistles you need, plus get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot, all for $50 a month. How about that? Half the price of the big guys, and you get a new iPhone powered by America's most dependable 5G network. Do this. Go to puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Plus, when you go to puretalk.com/Levin, you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company. Ladies and gentlemen, very important announcement, public service announcement, breaking news. What we do at Fox, you know. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Please set your DVRs if you're not going to be there live with the rest of us. General Jack Keane and Hans von Spakovsky, we are going to discuss war and peace. We are going to discuss birthright citizenship and chain migration and mass deportation. We're going to get right to the bottom of it. And, of course, the greatest of all opening statements every Saturday and Sunday. Don't miss us Saturday if there's great college games going on or you're out on a date with your wife or your husband or somebody. Set your DVR. If you set your DVR now, you don't have to set it again. 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday. We have Newt Gingrich and Alan Dershowitz. What a great team there, and my opening statement as well. So I want to encourage you, 2 brand new Life, Liberty, and Levin shows. Again, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. May I encourage you to go ahead and set your DVR. Let's have a Levin search. Set your DVRs or your smart TV or however you do it. And set it for this time and just send it for every Saturday and Sunday. That way you come home and say, damn it, I missed it. I got to stay up till 1 in the morning. No, you don't. And if you can watch us live, even better. Can't tell you how many people I meet every day that say to me, they actually wait for the show, which is a wonderful thing. Well, 77 House Democrats signed a letter that could trigger arms embargo in Israel. So we had 18 Senate Democrats, 77 House Democrats. These are the Marxist Islamists. And the signatories to the letter include well-known radical left-wing Jewish Democrats. I've told you about the Jew-hating, un-Jewing radical left Marxists, such as Representatives Jan Schakowsky and Sarah Jacobs. Schakowsky of Illinois, Jacobs of California. Jacobs is romantically involved with former Democrat congressional candidate and former Obama administration official Ammar Kappa Najjar, the grandson of a notorious Palestinian terrorist. What a great match. A Marxist woman and the son of a notorious Palestinian terrorist. There we have the fusion of Judaism and Muslim, the best of the best. The best of the best in those two right there. No, the worst of the worst. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Be allowed to serve in the military?
Yes.
You said, can you just respond to the CNN report this morning? It was highlighting some of your previous comments. Saying
I don't feel the need to respond to CNN. Have a good evening.
You are comfortable with gay people openly serving in the military?
Did you hear what I said there?
He said he was. You know, it's amazing. I remember when Barack Obama, when he was running for president, was it 2008, something like that? He was not comfortable with gay people marrying. Now, of course, he's the voice of the gay people. But then Pete Hegseth gets question like, it's constant gotcha time. Now, we've talked about ProPublica here on many occasions. It's based in San Francisco. It is a phony news site. It's funded mostly by leftist billionaires and their ilk. But they pretend to be a news site. ProPublica. Botched Pete Hegseth smear proves the need to purge the military of partisanship. This is an editorial from the New York Post. You may not be aware of this. A botched smear of Secretary of Defense designated Pete Hegseth just further exposed the rank partisanship in both the military and the media, and showed exactly why President-elect Donald Trump needs a reformer like Hegseth running the Pentagon. On X Wednesday, Hegseth flagged an in-the-works hit piece saying, "We understand that ProPublica, the left-wing hack group, is planning to publish a knowingly false report that I was not accepted to West Point in 1999. Look how they try to destroy his amazing military record. To kibosh any doubt, he included a photo of his acceptance letter from the then West Point Superintendent Lieutenant General Daniel Crispin. ProPublica senior editor Jesse Essinger answered with telling haughty self-importance. We asked West Point Public Affairs, which told us twice on the record he hadn't even applied there. We reached out. Hegseth Spox gave us his acceptance letter. We didn't publish his story. That's journalism." No, actually, he followed with an 11-part thread concluding, "This is how journalism is supposed to work," on the tail, but never explained why the publication started chasing the story in the first place, nor why ProPublica never dug in to say Tim Walz's claims. The reason, of course, is that ProPublica isn't so much a news outlet as a left-wing opposition research project funded by shadowy anonymous donors to dig up dirt. Some may be true, they write, on Republicans and conservatives, as witness it smears Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Still a mystery is just how the West Point Public Affairs team failed to so conveniently, for ProPublica's agenda, repeatedly give false information to an agenda-driven outlet, answers that might have violated the Privacy Act, even if they'd been true. A genuine news outlet could have turned these events into an expose on the forces working to tank this nomination. You have to wonder if some insider at the school or higher-up command chain didn't suggest ProPublica chase this story. Certainly high command is nervous about Hegseth's and Trump's stated intentions to fire woke generals who've risen to the top as politicians in uniform. Hegseth's lucky he had that 20-year-old letter handy. Absent hard proof to the contrary, ProPublica might well have gone to the press with a lie and then apologizing only when if it had to, and that's how it works. With the eager cooperation of top Pentagon career officials, Democrats for years have pushed political correctness and even mandatory DEI re-education on our troops. Like this clown Milley. Putting political partisans in civilian jobs at West Point is even easier. Heck, the military academy voluntarily removed duty, honor, country from its mission statement in March. It did? I didn't even know that. Did you know that, Mr. Producer? Wait a minute. West Point removed duty, honor, country from its mission statement in March? Did that offend some group? The longer the Hegseth nomination fight goes on, the more obvious the need for someone like Pete to start cleaning house at the Pentagon. America needs a military devoted to doing its job, not to catering to the left. Now, we're in a period where some of the lesser intelligent media types are telling us Hegseth has this thing wrapped up. No, he does not. The hearings will come. The Democrats will jump. They will scream. They will yell. The media will be there to help them. They'll try and Kavanaugh Hegseth no matter what. We have to be there. We are the point of the spear. You Levinites. This show. Us. Together. While the others, the backbenchers, will comment on how important podcasters were. Or how important MAGA was. Or how important... We are MAGA. We are podcasters. And we're radio. And we're bigger. And we take the lead because we have the guts. We believe in this country. We don't sit back and wait for somebody else. Ever. Ever. So there you are. ProPublica. Same way they attacked Clarence Thomas and the others. It's a paid outfit. It's a It's an organization that's funded by leftists. They pretend to be media. They have nothing to do with the media. It's like some of these groups that's being uncovered now. They report on poor Hamas and the Palestinians and the oppressors, the genocidal maniacs, the Israeli Jews, and then we find out that they're funded by Iran and Qatar and these other organizations. I mean, the media is just so grotesque. It's so grotesque and so phony that this is what goes on. What? Is this possible? CNN ratings lose out to the Food Network, as we mentioned, as liberal media viewership continues post-election crash at our friends at Red State, Becky Noble. At the risk of sounding melodramatic, everything seems different since Donald Trump won the election, writes Becky. People who before the election would not have given him the time of day and even wrote him off are now making the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago as fast as they can to meet with Trump. The general consensus must be to get on his good side now, but the most fun thing to watch has been the fact that Trump has literally broken the legacy media. He has. And even more fun to watch is the realization of that. Now the hard date is in, and it doesn't look good for the constipated news network and the constipated hosts with their constipated looks. In fact, they may want to think about multitasking. Scott Jennings. I don't know Scott Jennings. He was a Bush guy, but he's loved over there at Right Scoop. He's loved at Fox. Maybe they should hire him. What do you think, Mr. Producer? Why not? For the week of December 1 through 7, CNN had a smaller audience than the Food Network. During primetime programming hours, CNN came in at number 17. Behind not only the Food Network, but TNT, Freeform, Discovery, INSP, Hallmark Mystery, TLC, TBS, History, HGTV, USA, Paramount, Hallmark Channel, ESPN, Fox News, even MSNBC. CNN's primetime lineup consists of Anderson Cooper 360. The Source with Caitlin Collins. Boy, oh boy, does she have a constipated look on her face. And CNN's Newsnight with Abby Phillip, who managed to get a whopping average of just 367,000 viewers. 8 to 11 p.m. time slot. By comparison, Fox News averaged 2.5 million. Wow. Keep in mind, this was not by no means a slow news week. Stories included the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, the ensuing manhunt, several of Donald Trump's cabinet picks, the reaction of President Biden pardoning his son after he repeatedly said he wouldn't, and the toppling of the Assad regime by rebels in Syria. The news doesn't get any better for CNN. The holy grail for advertisers, the age 25 to 54 demographic, came in with a mere 67,000 viewers. Folks, that's nothing. Leading to the network finishing at number 26 among cable stations. Fox had 280,000 viewers in that demographic. What did those folks think was more entertaining to watch? Old TV shows like TV Land, MTV. However, sadly, not for music videos, Nick at Night, Adult Swim, I don't even know what this is. Comedy Central, which begs the question, at this point, is there much of a difference between CNN and Comedy Central? The American people clearly stating that they are all for the Trump agenda has not been good for business at places like CNN and MSNBC. CNN suffered its lowest week of ratings the week of November 25 with just 268,000 viewers overall since June of 2001. Fox had 1.4 million viewers over the same period. At MSLSD, the same demographic has had enough as well. Liberal morning favorite, Morning Schmo, with Schmo and Mrs. Schmo, shows viewership down 35% with 720,000, 37% in the demographic, 25-54. But even more viewers felt betrayed, 17% to be exact, stopped watching Joe and Mika. So if you're an executive at CNN and MSNBC, are you concerned? No, they're owned by these big corporate oligopolies. We're going to spin them off. Boy, they're awfully slow at it, aren't they? Certainly seems like you should be. Don't you want to know why viewers are no longer tuning in? I can tell you why. Nobody wants to watch Joy Reid. She's grotesque in her mind and her thoughts and her comments. Nobody wants to watch that whole damn lineup at MSLSD. It's a freak show. Bunch of frauds. mental midgets. CNN has nothing to offer anybody but Hamas. That's a very limited target audience, don't you think, Mr. Producer? The Hamasians and their supporters? Could it be that they're not stupid hayseeds in flyover country, we the people, and are well aware of the fact that you look down on us with disgust because we go to Walmart? I love Walmart. Do you go to Walmart, Mr. Producer? I go there. I love it there. What's not to like? There's an easy way for the bigwigs at CNN and MSLSD to find out why their ratings are tanking. Get out of New York and Washington. Get out of that bubble. Go talk to some real people. But who believes that would actually happen? Nobody. Now, there's real people in New York and Washington, too. Just not enough of us. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You gonna have a good weekend, folks? Friday evenings are the best, aren't they? Saturday you wake up, you don't have to jump into the car and go somewhere and get on the bus or the train or the subway. It's like, my God, I can have an extra hour of sleep. Now, I don't sleep. I'm sort of a quasi-insomniac. So I write my books and do other things. But it is nice, isn't it? Saturday, Sunday, even though I'm working on Sunday. But still. New York Post anti-Israel protester punches Jewish student, punches him in the face, calls him Nazi in deranged attack outside Columbia University. Is it still hard to get into that university? Because if it were me, I'd get the hell out of that university. Floyd Mayweather attacked, chased out of a store in London for supporting Israel. You see, it's all over the place now. These are the Nazis. These are the Hitlerians that don't get discussed by Joy Reid and Anna Navarro in broken English. This is going on all over the place. All over the place. Gets minimal attention. If any attention whatsoever, it's just common. And I can assure you, if it was any other minority being treated this way, it would be front page news every single evening. Every single evening. But not now. You know, we're kind of used to it. All right, a Jew got punched. What do you want? Okay, chased down the street. Then there's a report that came out as a result of litigation that took place in Amsterdam, where the Palestinian Authority said, no, the Jews were taking down the Palestinian flags. They provoked that Kristallnacht that took place in Amsterdam. They did it to themselves. Well, as a result of an investigation by the government there and litigation, the documents and the interviews, this had been planned for months at the soccer game where the Israeli national team was playing. That's why thousands of Moroccan Muslims, and they weren't alone, attacked the Israeli Jews and other Jews who attended the sporting event. It had started in a very exciting way, a very unifying way, but then this mob came and they were organized. They were blocking every alley, every escape route. People were beaten to a pulp. People were stabbed. The Israeli government had to send in some of their own police to try and deal with it. It happened actually twice in Amsterdam. Twice. And now we know as a result, not just the investigation, but litigation, that this had been long planned. And again, I'm sure the media where you live or what you listen to hadn't said a damn thing about it. Now, this is bad. It's happening in Canada. It's happening in Amsterdam. It's happening in London. It's happening in Paris. It's happening all over the Western world. All over the Western world. On our continent, in Europe. I mean, forget about the Middle East right now. Just in these so-called advanced Western societies that supposedly embrace these Western ideals and principles. It's loose in the world now, and it's because of what I call the Second Muslim Crusade. And by that, I'm talking about the Islamists, not your average Muslim. And incidentally, if you read what has been written by the terrorist elements They will tell you that this has always been the goal, to secrete themselves into Western society like Hamas, through care. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Denali, the Great One.
The Great One.
And you can call in now, 877-381-3811.
That would be me. Let me take a few calls here. We're going to go to our friend Dr. Elaine Healy. I want to remind people all over the country, Dr. Elaine Healy called this program, and she's in New York. And there was a piece in the Wall Street Journal about what was happening to nursing homes, and that the governor's office put out a directive that people with COVID coming out of these hospitals and so forth are required to be put back into these nursing homes, or even nursing homes they didn't come from originally, despite the fact that they would spread this COVID virus to a very vulnerable population. And as you know, this turned out to kill many elderly people. Very controversial. There have been reports that have been put out on it, and Dr. Healy came on the program. I think really we were the first ones to break it on radio or TV. It was so appalling, and she really is a heroine. And I call you a heroine rather than a hero. Does it really matter? And you did a fantastic job. Now, Dr. Healy, you want to comment on the Nancy Pelosi injury, correct?
Yes, Mark, and thank you. It's so good to speak with you again. I thought for a couple of reasons. First of all, on an individual level, this is potentially a very, very serious injury for this woman. Hip fractures can be deadly, and God willing, she will have a full and complete recovery. But I think it's important for the public to understand it's a significant public health problem as our population ages, and people of her age that sustain hip fractures is quite a high mortality rate in the first year, up to 30%. And potential loss of function in their abilities to walk and so forth, pain and so on. So it's a really potentially serious injury for someone of that age, and let us hope that she has a full recovery.
Let me just intervene briefly to agree 100% with you. My father-in-law passed away from a fall of a few steps. I mean, I tore my tendon 100% from falling on 2 steps. And when you're elderly and you're 84 and this happens, it really can affect your organ. As you point out, it can affect your hip, your knee, your shoulder, whatever, but it can have deadly consequences.
Correct. Falls in the elderly is a very serious public health problem, and so we must wish her the best. I do advise against wearing stilettos in your
I haven't worn any yet. I have to be honest with you.
Yeah, quite serious. But and I don't know what will happen in her situation. Certainly in this country, we would try to get an individual with a hip fracture to surgery within 24 hours, and depending on the severity of it, they can have a pinning or may even need the whole joint to be replaced. Often people with hip fractures, and certainly in this country, will end up in a facility like mine, in a nursing home, to have ongoing rehabilitation. So it's something I'm very familiar with, and it's a significant life event for someone to whom it happens. And I think as our population ages, it's something that we have to be very cognizant of. But you mentioned something about and I want to comment on our aging or our aged politicians. And I think that's another issue that we really have to come to grips with. I'm not even sure, how to do that, because you said something very wise. There are individuals in their 80s, like Donald Trump, and older, who are quite robust and cognitively and functionally and physically intact. And there are those that are not. And when they are not cognitively intact, and certainly when they have physical conditions that compromise them. We really have to be very cognizant that this is these people can be compromised, and they're in these positions of power and influence in our government. I mean, I can't even believe who's in the White House right now. It's just shocking that we're in that situation. So I think the public needs to wake up, and not to suggest that everyone of a certain age is compromised, but some are, and I think people that are reaching those ages and they realize it, they really have an ethical obligation to step down, let someone else.
It really is shocking. You've seen everything and you understand better than most. To have somebody like Joe Biden in there who clearly is, he's not 100%. Let me put it that way. He may not even be 50% at times. As president of the United States, it's really shocking to the system, isn't it, for somebody like you that observes these things day after day?
It's shocking, and the cover-up, and, I mean, we're all literally just biting our nails and crossing our fingers that we get through the next, few weeks without some terrible event, some lapse in judgment. Let's just hope somebody's, keeping things under control there, because certainly he's not really capable of it. It's very obvious even to a non-clinician. I think everybody recognizes it now. And how it got to that point is shocking as well. And we can't have that happen again. We just can't have that.
Well, I want to thank you for listening and calling in. We'll never forget that conversation we had, you in front of our audience and so forth, about what was taking place. That helped cause the entire country to know what was going on and draw the proper and enormous attention to it. So I want to thank you for that, Elaine.
And thank you for taking that call and for keeping that story alive.
All right. You take care of yourself. Call anytime. She's fantastic. Oopsie, Mr. Producer. 1 second. My call screen went down. Hold on here. Okay, here we are, Rich. I'm here. Let's see. Let us go to Robert. Athens, Alabama, the great WVNN. Robert, go right ahead, please. Speaker forever, hold yourself.
When that woman...
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
I looked at the news, when that lady came on and started spewing about what kind of company that Donald Trump... he what kind of company he's with. And I think...
this whole Hitler thing, you mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's 770 million people that he's keeping company
77
with.
million. 77 million. Yep.
Oh, 77 million. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not all these other people. They're just spewing vile
They're just
crap.
haters. Yeah, you're right. They spew vile crap. But what do you think about corporations that let them go on and give them a platform every damn day, year after year? What do you think of that?
If I had some kind of way of getting in touch with these people, I would. I don't. They don't make phone books anymore, so.
No.
Yeah.
You're dating us. All right. You take care of yourself, man. Thank you, Robert. Let's keep going. Let's go to Rick, Fayetteville, Arkansas, the great KFAY. Clarence, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the great WJS. Your Steelers are starting to look really, really good. How are you?
Yeah, they're 10-4, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they've been really looking good the last 4 or 5 games.
They have been. I'm not a football fan, but I still enjoy them winning.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
what
I want to talk to you about was I like to buy stuff made in USA, and I hunt around for stuff. My wife needed a new watch. You think I could find one made in USA? I ended up buying one out of Switzerland. It was a company that owns Bulova. But anyway, Trump's selling watches and he's selling tennis shoes. Where are they made? I don't know if anybody makes
I haven't
tennis
checked.
shoes or
Oh, no, there are. I mean, I get my sneakers. I think they make them in New England, Maine, actually. That's not why I buy them, because I like them, but I think they're made in Maine. What did you say? Watches? I don't buy many watches, so I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's not something. The watch I wear is 50 years old.
Yeah, I mean, that's
and it
what I
was
do.
made in USA.
Yes, it's still working, right?
Still working beautifully. It's an Actron Sports. But anyway,
yeah, I know
the
what
other
that
thing,
is.
You still.
I'm here.
The other thing is this Luigi guy. You ever see a picture of him?
I did.
He's got a monobrow. It goes all the way across his forehead.
Right.
And when they say, I've seen pictures of the supposed killer, he's got two definite eyebrows. Now, Luigi's fingerprints were found at the scene, so he's involved. But I don't think he's the shooter.
Yeah, I think he is. And I think they have this guy dead to rights. He's got so much evidence against him, it's not even funny.
But what about
you know how you can fix people, unibrow? All you got to do is cut it in half, and it's not a unibrow anymore, as I understand it. All right, my friend, thank you. I didn't think we'd land there. Did you, Mr. Producer? Nope, but we did. What's that? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Be right back.
Mark Levin.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, Life, Liberty, and Levin, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Hello! Set your DVR, your smart TV. Hopefully you'll watch this live, but also set it just in case. We have General Jack Keane, and we have Hans von Spakovsky, and we're going to cover everything as only we can, and I have a killer opening statement that I've prepared for you. Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place. Same thing, if you could DVR it or set your smart TV, that would be fantastic. Two great guests, Newt Gingrich, like you've never seen him, followed by Alan Dershowitz, who's fantastic, in my opening statement. So there you are this weekend. Among all the other things you do, I hope you'll check in. We go to America every Friday in honor of you. Here we go. Life, Liberty, and Levin this weekend. 2 brand new programs, Saturday 8 p.m. Eastern, Sunday 8 p.m. Eastern. Please set your DVR, set your smart TV, just in case you can't watch it live. I hope you'll join us. Great shows. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel. We have your backs. God bless you. Good night, Spritey and Griffey. Good night, Pepsi and Smokey. Good night, Zelda and Gigi. Good night, Indy and Patton and Rory. Good night, little Barney and Marty. Good night, Dad. Good night, Mom. Good night, Leo. Good night, Joe. Good night, Teddy. Good night, Bernie. Good night, Lou. Good night, all of our friends who aren't with us anymore, and all of you. God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Fox tomorrow night. Take care of yourself.